Today, we're talking Kurt Russell.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Matt and Stu Review, where we're taking a look at your favorite toys from yesterday and today. Stuart, what do we have on the table?
Today, we're going to take a look at another custom.
All right,
So-
custom figure.
This is my custom Snake Plissken figure from the Escape From series of movies. The first one was from the 70s, second one came out in the 90s. Basically, sort of a post-apocalyptic, badass 80s Kurt Russell figure that I made out of a couple of G.I. Joes.
Yeah, I think I remember Escape from New York.
Escape from L.A. was the one that came out in the
Right.
90s.
I remember Escape from LA.
Yeah, I think we had talked, we both had gone to see it in the theater randomly.
Okay.
You were in the drive-thru.
Yeah, I was at the drive-in, yep.
Yeah, I saw it in LA.
Well, let's take a look at the figure first here. Looks like a pretty cool head on top of a figure here. What did you actually customize on this figure?
So I sculpted some of his chest and the zippers on his shoulders. He's got this really funny sort of tank top with zip-off shoulders.
Okay.
So I sculpted the zippers into his shoulders, sculpted the chest to change his shirt from a V-neck to a crew neck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Swapped the arms from a different figure on there, swapped the hands, swapped the entire leg and hip setup from a different figure onto that, and then even swapped the boots from a particular figure to get the black boots that he needed onto the right pants.
Wow, so that's quite the amalgamation of different figures and stuff, huh?
He's very custom. I wanted to actually grab a couple of the things that he was made out of just to show off, how we do this customization thing.
Yeah, very cool.
The last thing that I wanted to mention on this figure is his gun. That is the prop correct gun from the movie. So it's like this special MAC-10 with a really long silencer and a scope that he had in Escape from New York.
It's like the dumbest weapon ever.
Totally goofy gun, but really awesome to make the figure screen accurate.
Yeah.
And that gun actually came from Gridiron Studios. They're a toy company that just makes 1/12 scale munitions.
Yeah, and are they all movie themed, or they're everything themed?
They have movie themed ones. They've got some sci-fi stuff. They've got some really realistic, modern combat stuff. Kind of the whole gamut of what you might want for a figure.
So if you just wanted a custom weapon, they probably have it.
They probably have it.
Hey, pretty cool.
Yeah, and I grabbed another one of the guns that I bought from them. This is more of a Star Wars type blaster.
Okay.
Just wanted to show that off, in the video as well, as long as we were touching on what they do.
Different. Cool.
I actually waited to do this review of this figure until I had that gun because it just is the icing on the cake.
It is cool. It does make him a complete figure for sure.
I'll give you these other figures that he's made out of.
Okay.
So that is the source of his legs, minus the boots.
Okay, yeah.
You can see there, that's Stalker.
Combat Steve.
And then the other figure is the source of his arms and his shirt.
Okay.
So you can see why I had to
use
sculpt
upper
that.
torso.
Yeah, I had to sculpt his V-neck out of that as well, because there's a little bit of a collar on there.
Yeah, totally. Okay, yep. And he has collar bones even and stuff like that. Very cool. Okay, so I can see that. And then the gloves and hands.
I swapped, he's barehanded in the movie, so I found some hands that matched correctly. And actually, in Escape from New York, he has a wrist timer that has an explosive in it that's going to blow up if he doesn't complete his mission. He's kind of like a bad guy that the good guys recruited to do something for.
Yeah.
So that little cuff on Zaymot there actually ended up working perfectly as the cuff from the movie as well.
Explosive handcuff, yeah.
If we really want to get deep in here, the watch is from Luke Cage figure. So there's probably 6 figures that have gone into the making of this one figure between his belt, boots, wrist accessories, etc.
Where'd the boots come from?
The boots came from another G.I. Joe. You can see they're actually exactly the same sculpt as what he would have had on the pants, but just in black. And I happened to have a guy that had them. I just heated them up, popped them off, popped the green onto the old guy. They seem to work fine.
That's funny. I haven't seen a boot that is articulated like this in a toy yet.
Yeah,
maybe it's a G.I. Joe thing.
We haven't looked at many G.I. Joes. I'd say it's pretty common for G.I. Joes.
Okay. So are you normally a G.I. Joe collector? Do you have a lot of G.I. Joes? Did you do them just for this? Are they good for customization?
The G.I. Joes are particularly good for customization. With some heat or some hot water, almost all of their body parts come off, so it's really easy to remove the arms, remove the hips. They have a little bit of a soft plastic overlay, actually for the crotch piece that lays over a hard piece that the legs attach to. So they're really easy to disassemble and reassemble. Cool. There's a lot of guys out there that are just Kitbash and G.I. Joes left and right all the time.
What about the head? Is that one you talked about?
I haven't talked about the head yet. So the head actually came from a eBay seller. It's a custom resin printed head that I painted.
So 3D printed, no neck port inside, anything like that. It's just puttied on.
Yeah, I just have some putty in there. There's a trick that you can do where you actually fill that with hot glue. You let it
Oh,
dry a fair amount, and then
okay.
you put some silicone or you put some petroleum jelly on the ball, and you can actually make
Ball joint
a
or
ball
a
joint
socket joint.
for the head. So
That's pretty
I
cool.
probably will attempt that at some point in the future, but
And was his face and hair all one piece printed?
face and hair was all one
So it
piece,
came just like that,
just like that.
unpainted.
Yeah. This is like the second bare head that I've painted in 1/12 scale. I was really pleased with how this came out.
The 5
You know,
o'clock shadow looks awesome.
yeah, I've never painted a 5 o'clock shadow in anything,
Uh-huh.
so I was very pleased with how it worked out.
Yeah. How did you decide what you would paint and what you wouldn't paint? Because I was just thinking you could have just painted the boots black rather than swap them.
I always try not to paint a piece if I have a piece in my fodder
Uh-huh.
collection, which is like your collection of
Yeah.
pieces and parts. If I've got fodder pieces, I try to use the properly colored plastic because then you can avoid paint rub. Right, the
Yeah, it
ankle
won't wear
joint
off.
here is a place where
Yeah.
you potentially have a lot of paint rub,
Hmm.
and so just it's nice to have boots be in their natural, proper plastic color.
So Stuart, what about Snake Plissken compelled you to build a figure?
So honestly, maybe 2 months ago, I
Hmm.
watched Escape from New York and I watched Big Trouble in Little Chinatown
Oh,
back to back. So I was on this like 80s Kurt Russell kick and I was like, I have to make a Snake Plissken. I don't know. Sometimes the artistic bug just bites you and
yep.
you gotta follow it to its end.
Cool. Yeah. So were you a fan of him growing up? Was it just like a modern or a recent thing that you kind of fell into?
I actually had like a pretty memorable experience seeing Escape from LA when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
with my cool LA family. I just remember it like very vividly. And so I've always kind of, yeah, had some love for the franchise
Okay.
ever since seeing that,
Interesting.
back
Yeah.
in sixth grade or so.
Okay. Yeah. I remember I saw it at the drive-in, like we mentioned at the start, and it was like a one and done for me. I don't think I've ever thought of Escape from blank since then. I don't think I've ever seen Escape from New York.
I highly recommend Escape from New York.
Maybe I've seen it channel flipping back in the day or something like that.
Escape from New York is great
Mhm.
because it's like that 70s vision of the future, like the Warriors or whatever, that's like
Yeah.
this like urban decay version of the apocalypse that just we don't necessarily see anymore. It
Yeah,
was
not
like
enough urban decay in our media these
yeah,
days.
no, like it was like, they're talking about buildings burning down in New York and like
Yeah.
New York was somewhat apocalyptic at that time.
It's true. In the
Um
70s, you could see that as its
so
future.
media really reflected that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think it's kind of a cool different version of the future than we get in a lot of our media stuff these days.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of variety in movies these days, it seems like.
It's a bummer.
So we want to hear from you. What action star from the 80s would you want to see Stuart Kitbash in his next figure?
And Matt, I've got to ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate my custom Snake Plissken?
All right, custom Snake Plissken by Stuart Hansen. I think I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's a great Kitbash. I mean, all the pieces and parts fit great. You put so many different things together. You got the movie prop gun. Maybe if I had like a movie poster adjacent to him, I could be a little more critical. But and the GI Joe figures that you've used are really good. They're well articulated. They're not like pinned or anything like
No
that, which is
pins.
nice. So all the joints look really clean and good. And lots of articulation. Okay, maybe 9.5. Maybe if you fix the ball in the socket head, we'll call it a clean 10.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, what would you rate yourself, Stuart?
I'm going to go ahead and rate him a 9. There's always room for improvement.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what I rated my last custom. We looked at that Catwoman.
Yep.
I'm going to retroactively give her an 8 and give him a 9 because I am seeing like improvement in my methods and
Yep.
like my results. So I'll give him a 9. This has been my custom Snake Plissken Kitbash from Escape from New York.
And if you like toys and reviews like these, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.